Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Brandi Glanville contemplated suicide during desolate time. Former Housewives star Brandi Glanville admitted that she contemplated suicide during a very desolate time in her life. She has been struggling legally, physically, and emotionally, which she has been very candid about. So what really set her over the edge? Keep reading for more details. Being in the spotlight is not always easy, and for Brandi Glanville, all of her dirty laundry was front and center. She was open about her ex-husband's infidelity during her time on Housewives, and what a struggle that was for many years. In January 2023, Brandi was a part of the Housewives Morocco, but that ended horribly. She was accused of sexually assaulting co-star and Housewives alum Caroline Manzo. The stress of that, as well as the allegations, caused her to lose work and money. Furthermore, her health deteriorated, and now she maintains that she has a parasite in her face. She has spent an incredible amount of money to try to fix whatever is wrong, plus she attempted to sue Bravo. However, that went south when her legal team dropped her. Now, she is opening up about a very dark time in her life. Brandi spoke to Tori Spelling on the April 10th episode of her Missive Belling podcast. There she details how she had contemplated suicide. But what was the catalyst? The mother of two went on to elaborate. In the midst of all of this, I'm not working. All my jobs are cancelled because of the Caroline work. The narrative when we got back from Morocco was I was fired for being inappropriate with Caroline Manzo. And I wasn't. It's ruined my life. She went on to share how she was so sick 6 months down the line, but during that time, her mental health took a nosedive. That was when Brandi was in an immensely dark place with scary thought. I got sick 6 months later. But those 6 months, I was in a fetal position on my couch, like contemplating suicide, being called horrible things. It's so crazy that the press has so much power. The hardest part was reading new and different information regarding what happened in Morocco with Caroline. More so, it was constantly changing, sending her down a spiral. One thing that Brandi Glanville talked heavily about was how her career took a downturn because of the Housewives incident. Once that made waves, any jobs that Brandi had lined up were null and void. It was not just the accusations that had harmed her, but her face drastically changed. The former model looked nothing like her old self, which also held her back. And then I lost my looks at the same time. I literally, at 51, started OnlyFans, because I didn't have income for 6 months and I was like going through my savings. Through OnlyFans, she admitted that she was doing quite well financially. However, her fans wanted to see her without a mask, and that was not pleasant. Finally, Brandi Glanville's life is still up in the air, as she does not have a proper diagnosis for what is going on regarding her face. Are you shocked that Brandi's confidence sunk so low that she contemplated suicide? More so, are you proud of her for being so open? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Brandi Glanville, the sharp-tongued, bold, unapologetic former Real Housewives of Beverly Hills star, has never been one to shy away from truth. Her persona, often wrapped in glamour and controversy, has long fascinated the public. But behind the feuds, the red carpets, and the biting comebacks lies a woman who, like many, has weathered the silent, haunting storms of personal despair. In a recent deeply emotional revelation, Brandi opened up about a time when she contemplated ending her own life. A confession that peeled back the layers of her public persona and showed the raw, vulnerable human within. The world saw the sparkle, the drama, the reality TV spectacle. Few saw the depth of her pain, the heavy solitude she carried, or the moments when hope slipped through her fingers like sand. It wasn't about being dramatic, she said quietly, voice low, eyes rimmed with a wariness that no makeup could hide. It was about feeling utterly invisible in a world that had once cheered for me, and then moved on like I never existed. The desolate time Brandi refers to came in the wake of a perfect storm. Career stalls, broken relationships, public criticism, and the crushing loneliness of feeling irrelevant in an industry that devours women past a certain age. The Brandi we saw on screen, the feisty woman throwing wine across the table, was just one shade of her reality. Behind closed doors, she wrestled with depression that seemed to echo louder with each passing day. The boys at their dad's, and I would just vanish, she admitted. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. I didn't know who I was anymore. The phone didn't ring. The emails stopped coming. It felt like I was slowly being erased. She described her home during that time as both a sanctuary and a prison. The silence was deafening, broken only by her inner critic. The one that whispered doubts and spun webs of self-hatred. In the age of social media, where likes and relevance are mistaken for worth, the absence of attention can feel like exile. And Brandi felt exiled from a life she once knew intimately. But even in her bleakest hours, somewhere within her, a small flame flickered. It was my kids, my boys. I thought, if I go, what will happen to them? What if they think I didn't love them enough to stay? That thought, she says, pulled her back from the edge. Not immediately, not in a triumphant, cinematic moment of epiphany. But gradually, day by day, breath by breath. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is just survive the next hour. Brandi's story is not unique, and that's what makes it so vital. Mental health doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about fame, money, or social status. Depression often hides behind well-lit selfies and red carpet smiles. For Brandi, admitting she considered suicide wasn't a bid for attention. It was an act of courage, an attempt to shine a light into a dark space that far too many inhabit in silence. I didn't want to die, she clarified. I just didn't want to feel anymore. I wanted the pain to stop, the numbness to end. I wanted to be seen, to be held, even just emotionally. That yearning for connection is a fundamental human need. During her hardest moments, Brandi said the small acts of kindness, an unexpected text from a friend, a stranger's kind comment, sometimes carried her more than they could ever know. I remember this one fan messaged me something like, "You were my favorite, and you helped me through my divorce." It was random, but it reminded me I mattered. That something I said or did had value. That I had value. Therapy, she says, became her lifeline. Learning to separate her worth from the noise of the entertainment industry, from the ever-judging eyes of social media, was a slow, brutal process. But she began to build herself again, not as Brandi the celebrity, but as Brandi the mother, the woman, the survivor. I stopped performing for everyone else's benefit, she explained. I started asking myself, what do I need today? What brings me peace? And sometimes it was just walking barefoot in the grass or crying without shame. This shift didn't erase the past, but it reframed it. Her pain became a scar rather than a wound. A reminder of what she overcame. Today, Brandi speaks out not for sympathy, but for solidarity. She wants to be a voice for those who are still in the shadows. She knows the stigma, especially for women in the public eye, is real. We're told to be strong, to keep it together, to smile through it. But sometimes strength is breaking down and rebuilding. Sometimes it's just surviving when everything tells you to give up. In a culture that feeds on curated perfection, Brandi Glanville's willingness to be unfiltered about her darkest hours is a powerful rebellion. Her story reminds us that even the most dazzling lives can harbor immense pain, and that healing is rarely linear or pretty. Brandi is still imperfect, still outspoken, still messy in the way that real people are. But she is also present, grounded, and open about her journey. Her darkness didn't consume her, it transformed her. If there's one thing she wants people to know, it's this. You're not alone, you matter even when you don't feel like it. And there is always a way back from the edge. Always.